Good.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, Nigeria's headline inflation rate has hit a new 70-year all-time high, surging to 19.64% from the 18.6% recorded in the month of June this year. One of the key drivers of this figure is food inflation caused by the rise in the prices of bread and cereals, food products such as potatoes, yam and other tubers, meat, fish, oil, amongst others. The continuous spike in Nigeria's inflation rate is leaving many Nigerians barely surviving as they are struggling to keep up with rising prices for basic food. Joining us to talk about this issue is the chairman, Ikeja and District Society of ICANN, Olusegun Okunade. Good morning. It's good to see you again.
Good morning, Vero. My pleasure to be here.
So
Uncle
why
Sam, morning.
morning? So why can't I go to the market and buy gari in the same amount I bought it 6 months ago?
Very simple because
That's you believing that I actually go to the market and buy gari.
it's very much possible because these days we assist our wives to do so.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay.
But it will definitely be like that because I'm sure you know before now you can produce gari locally. I don't know if you're aware that we now eat imported gari.
I know.
You know.
I know.
Packaged.
Packaged.
Those ones that during your period you go to Ijebu and
It makes it
put
look
in your
like
mind.
it makes it look like when I was living abroad, you know, we used to have it packaged
Sent
packaged
to
like
you.
that. Sent. You know, it was imported from Nigeria. I don't know
Down
how
there.
processed in processed.
No, it's processed here.
Processed here. And, they
And,
brought,
you yarn
they
for it
same
and-
thing with amala and poundo
Poundo
and
and
everything.
everything.
And then when I came back to Nigeria, I started seeing it the same. I said, this is how we had it in the US.
So that's the problem we are faced with when we talk about inflation. It's about production. And if you look at all the factor of production, like we talked in economics, the 4 M's. We have the machineries, we have the manpower, but there is something that is missing out there, method, and that's processing. The material is there. Talked about all the raw materials in this planet Earth.
Well,
It's endowed here in this country. Start from crude oil, what you use to get the oil that you need, the petroleum, PMX, the diesel and everything. The raw materials that is needed in that production is embedded here. You have the manpower to carry it out. I'm sure, Gustav, if you put on air that we need to recruit 5 people in this station, you won't get less than 20 applicants applying for that job. It's to tell you that we have on ground manpower.
The challenge is the method.
That's the process. So practically all the raw materials that we have, none is being processed here. Our crude oil is being sent out to refine, bring back home. Our cassava being sent out. While you are growing up, you know, eating the likes of companies here produce chocolates. We
Yes,
used to do that.
chocolates, cornflakes, everything.
Conflicts, everything. But practically, and when I'm sure before you traveled out, when you finished maybe your secondary school, because that's what my father told me and I heard about it, I saw some of his friends. They gave them pigeons.
Pojo, yeah.
Yeah, it's standard.
Pojo was about 3,000 naira.
So you get it and you move freely. And that is just as a school start older.
My father had a car. He was when he bought a car. That you bought a car. Yes, so very nice. It was called Sim car. Very beautiful car in those days. But he was surprised. I was surprised. He said he didn't buy with his money. When he told me the amount of money was about 2,000 naira, something like that. I was bought the car. Something around that. That his salary was £22.10 at that time. Huge salary to earn. No, the house rent was £22.10. His salary was probably around 100 and something pounds. You know, which was big salary at that time. And he said he will be paying gradually from every month.
Every month.
Every month be paying and be enjoying this car.
Right.
So I was afraid that this guy, what if anything happens to this guy? So you will still be paying. He said he will be paying.
But the problem
They had insurance too.
the problem we are faced with is where are those production? And a country that do not produce anything, we continue to hear. I remember years back, like few months, whether late last year or I was here, and it was like we're prophet of June when we said this will continue. Then dollar was still at I think was it 3 something. I was on a show with David, And we're like, before December, this thing we eat 600. And they are like, no, it's not going to
So
be.
is this why the CBN's intervention has not really been achieving anything, so to speak? Because we see that the CBN has tried to intervene, increasing its interest rate and all of that, but that is not touching or moving the inflation rate anywhere.
All those mechanisms cannot work if you don't work on the fundamentals. The foundation of it is create an enabling environment for production to exist. Then when you're now pushing it from the monetary policy of reducing interest rate and working on all those things, then you can see the materiality of that of your policy. But we've had instances, devalue the currency, let's reduce the interest rate, let's work on all this, but we have not seen anything working.
So we are only treating the symptoms, we are not getting to the root.
You are not the root of it is that first, create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, for businesses to succeed. Then you can make use of talked about brain drain that we have currently. Everybody wants to leave the shore of this country. And I'm sure you left the shore of that area to come back home and say, this is home, this is where it's happening.
Exactly.
But for the young ones, because the environment is not there, they have to japa. And you ask yourself the question, they even go further doing, things that you cannot even think about. We travel most of the time and we ask ourselves, people like you say, Sheso, why are you not relocated? I say, Relo, leave me here. Whatever it is, I know we don't have it, but we'll get there. So government must be intentional about some certain things. Firstly, let there be security. I'm sure we can't go to Ijebu and go and get cassava and processed gari that we used to have freely. In fact, it has become an essential commodity. You know those days when you have eaten and you feel like you want to take something, you go and look for gari. I saw in your prologue, you made mention of practically all the food
items
an average person will want to consume.
Yes.
You cannot afford it any longer. Bread is something that you put on your shelf when you are hungry. After eating maybe a bowl of eba and you want to go to bed, you say, give me some bread.
Peckish. You
Yeah.
just go for
You take it and you munch it, but now you cannot.
Maybe that one is even saving our health because you're eating it, getting and punching it, you're putting poison in the body. But talking about bread, on this show I spoke about how bread has become such a commodity, an expensive commodity in this country, that when I was in school in GCU, we used to buy bread. A full bread that we buy for about 1,000, over 1,000. They say it's over 1,000 now.
Yeah.
That is that we used to buy for 5 kobo.
Chai.
5 kobo, and then we used to call it. You buy bread 5 kobo, then groundnut 5 kobo. You could call it 5.5. By the time the price went up, it was 6.4. Then became 7.3. By the time I left school, it was 10.0. Now it was 10 kobo.
10 kobo.
I were complaining.
You see the disheartening thing, Uncle Sam, is that I don't know the handlers of the economy. You're talking of kobo. Do we have this generation? Do they know what kobo is? You know, those days we always have this coin,
Yeah.
1 kobo, 5 kobo,
Yeah.
and to shock you, we don't even have 5 naira and 10 naira any longer.
We don't have.
We don't
Remember when I don't know where you guys might not know, when we were moving from pounds to naira, and they had to do jingle. Baba Salah was the one who was doing the jingle in Badon. They call naira. I call it naira Koni. I've forgotten it. It was a very beautiful song. Half kobo, ekpini. Because there used to be half kobo.
Yeah.
Ekpini. That was it. There used to be half kobo. You use half of a kobo to buy something. That was at that time. But now,
We can't get that.
The one that we even shocked, the water we drink. While we were growing up, you can take water anywhere. And somebody was telling me that to get a sachet of pure water, it now costs 20 naira. And I said, so 20 naira of those days that you will use to buy bread. You know, if you have 20 naira, you could get good bread, buy beans with it, and put the water on it. At least you are sure. You may not even take lunch. But that is what those days they will call sokudale. You already fill your tummy with the bread. But now it has gone so bad that even the value of a currency. So if we don't have kobo any longer, now we don't have those lower denomination. If you buy anything and you have 5 naira change to collect, nobody will give it to you.
And that's why there are concerns in some quarters that we might be heading the Zimbabwean way, where our money has lost its value. And then we see the situation in Sierra Leone. There are concerns that perhaps this might be...
Ghana was even like that too. Ghana was like that at one point.
Until the government take a decisive
what will be that decisive position from your point of view? The
first I would say is create the enabling environment. A secured environment is a prosperous nation. The thing we are battling with now is predominantly insecurity. I operate in a sector that I travel a lot. But I can tell you, I've shared it. In the last 3 years, it's practically difficult for me to travel. I travel from Lagos to the southwest. From the southwest, I'll connect the southeast. From the southeast, I go to south-south. I go to the north. Not flying, I go by road. Those years. But as we speak, I can't.
Can you still go by flight now?
Where you talk about the costs. So it's, thank God for COVID. You see, I said for every problem, there's always an advantage to it. COVID opened our eyes to technology where you can have meetings, Zoom, and all those things. So when you want to do any business with me, I just call on you. Can we have Skype? Yes. Can we talk on Zoom and get this thing out and solve it? Because to travel from Lagos to Abuja, just on a return flight, I will be looking at 150, 160. Then you ask yourself, if I don't get that business...
You have hotel and you have spent so many...
So you are spending an average of over 200,000 on not just a meeting. Gone are those days you fly in the morning. Uncle Sam, I'll leave Lagos 8 a.m. in the morning or 7 o'clock flight. Catch up with a meeting in Abuja for 9, 10. And by 2, 3, I'm back to Lagos. Yeah. That you can't do any longer because the cost of getting those things are huge. So part of the solution we're saying is create a safe environment. Nigerians are very creative. I've listened and watched, I'm an ardent watcher of this program, where you see some of the people that are making impact out of this country are our people. Yeah. Best student here, best student there, discovery of this. Why is those things happening there and not happening here?
Because best students, best athletes.
Best athletes, Somebody was saying, give kudos to Nigeria. Toby Amusho, was just patriotic. Yeah. But nothing, he didn't got the support of this administration.
We've seen a number of them play soccer who have children, their children were born abroad. Yeah. But they wouldn't claim Nigeria.
Oh, yeah,
and some of them grew up abroad. They've become British. We see them in Premier League. We see them.
So you discover that every segment of the country needs to be rejigged. Sir, there are periods in this country where tourism was the order of the day. You can go to Yankari in Bauchi. You can go to Ondo states where you can hot and cold water. You can climb the hill, Olumoro. Yeah. Well, how safe? Tourism is nowhere to be found. That was generating. I remember when I went to Jerusalem. Tourism was a bedrock for them. They were taking us everywhere. I said, is this what I pay dollars to come and do? This is where Lord did this, what this. And we have a lot of that here in the country. But even we, the citizens, cannot patron. You can't go to Badagry. You'll be scared. Yes. I'm sure you want to go anywhere now. You are looking for security people to guide you here and there. So the first thing to be addressed, as to speak, is talk about security. When there is security, an average person can think through on what to do.
Your mind is open.
It's open. You can, those days I remember they used to tell us that even around 11 p.m. you can go to Isaleiko and enjoy yourself after having an hectic day. Yes. You cool down and you can think through when you wake up in the morning. Now we struggle by 6 o'clock. Everybody wants to enter their bedroom. And you're even in with a lot of burglaries, scared of things to happen. So how can you think straight? You are in your system, you are afraid that somebody will attack you. Creativity cannot come.
Chief Hope Harriman told me a story of blessed memory now, told me a story about how they used to party in those days that at night, you get into your car, you go for a party in Ibadan. It's not that before this expressway. Go to a party in Ibadan. And after doing some party there, that very night, you're coming back to Lagos to go and join another party.
I'm sure if somebody makes the attempt now with the traffic on the road,
Yes,
you're just going to. So
exactly.
we should address that. Open the system. What is our power sector doing? We read in the headers. I saw.
Yes, they're trying to shut down the country.
Your system. And you know there are industries that have actually cut off of the national grid because each time you bring down you shut down the system, it takes days, hours for them to recalibrate and recuperate some of this system back for it to start working. So everything as we speak seems not. The agriculture sector, those days agriculture used to be our pride. Yorubas, the Southwest, we rely on cocoa.
Cocoa and...
you know, and it's a pride. But where are those things now? Let's go back to the drawing board. But if we must have that functional, then there must be security. I should be able to think through and say, oh, let me go to the farm. Something is happening this evening. I think something I can do. I can walk freely on the road. These are the major problems. I don't want to sound pessimistic.
Well, there's also the creative part of the economy that we have to think about. We have to think about also fixing power.
It's the bedrock where you see a graduate riding bike, all because there is failure in the power sector. We don't have power supply. Outside there, they don't think about power. I remember there was a period I traveled, you know the Nigerian mentality, and you're like, please help me get my clothes. I need to iron. So that NEPA will not take light. They say, yeah, they don't take light.
They don't take light.
But you know, it's already part of me. I'm like, oh, please, let me quickly just get it. I say, no, here you have constant power supply. And with that, you can decide to go to bed, wake up at the middle of the night, because you have a guarantee that there will be supply, power supply. And
you will not pass on the price of diesel to the consumer.
To the consumer.
You cannot, Sam, I don't want to go to the area of passing. They cost an average businessman like us, what we are suffering currently, the level of unemployment will continue to grow higher because most business owners cannot even manage the businesses again. Those days you buy diesel at 150, you're talking of over 800 naira now. And these are things that we are supposed to be producing locally.
So the implications are dire.
It's just huge. And most of the time when you come and they say, no, you are not patriotic, you are not optimistic.
But
the government is doing. But the reality is that we're not having it. Look at our debt ratio. Insecurity has actually brought down the Kaduna-Abuja rail system. And you know, we borrowed to actually fund that project. And as an accountant, you have actually put your feasibility report on board. You know, project to your people that I'm going to get this revenue. Since March till now, you have to make your repayment of that loan, but you're not getting revenue.
Sometimes we think that loan is just an easy way. Borrowing from outside is just an easy way to get things done.
It's not.
The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, once they said recently, that look, all this rail thing you are doing, we didn't borrow any money from outside to do it.
It was from within.
Everything was from within.
Because the process of getting those loans, Uncle Sam, is huge. There are things that you must be able to say between you and I. If I say borrow me 1 million, I must be able to convince you that I have the capability of repaying back.
The money,
and that takes me to have a very good document on paper to say, okay, this is what is expected of me on a monthly basis. I have this work I'm doing. I'm working here. I generate this income, and you do your due diligence that I'm able to repay back. Same is applicable for all the borrowing that we're doing. The ministry are putting those things in place. But when you fix those infrastructure, like this administration are claiming they're doing, you discover that after a little while, insecurity comes in and you are unable to generate revenue from there. Imagine what we've lost since March till now in the area of rail.
Yes, over the...
That's on the part of the government.
We've not restored it.
Yeah.
You borrow money, say, well, water pass, Gary.
And that's even on the part of the government. What of an average person that is daily living?
Depends on that.
I moved from Kaduna to Abuja via the rail. And you see people sending petty things, you know, to make ends meet. As we speak, you've cut off that business. They are no longer there. So it's something that is in cycle. And that's why I always say that it is not enough to come and talk about the as an economist or as an accountant or the GDP. This, let's address the fundamentals.
Security.
Once you're able to put security in place, like you said, I can leave Lagos to Ibadan at 11 p.m. and hook up with someone and be guaranteed that if I finish anything there, by 4 a.m., I'm on my way back to Lagos.
There's also the aspect of cutting down on the cost of governance. There are those who are suggesting perhaps we should also begin to look in that direction.
Who are the people to move that motion? When you are enjoying the largesse, you cannot cut down the cost of governance. This we have said.
But
We
something
know
has
that,
to be done. We cannot continue like this.
the thing that I feel needs to be done is for the electorate to come out and show their might
Like
during election.
they have done in Sierra Leone.
You come and show your might
Protest.
during election. We don't need to go protest way.
Right.
This administration, they've done their best and they're winding up. What position, how are you positioning yourself for next administration to dictate the pace
That's why
of
we
what
need, that's
you
why
need
we
to do?
need them to. We need the candidates to come out with their programs.
Yeah.
I will look at their
We start
histories.
scrutinizing.
We start scrutinizing. What have you done? What
Let's
have you
know
not
your
done?
antecedents.
Let's know what you've done.
And it
what you've
shouldn't
not
be
done.
about the president alone. I look on social media, the way people are saying, he's the president, he's the president.
No, it's not alone.
Look at your local government councillor, your local government chairman. They are the grassroots people. What are they offering? What are they doing before you even get to the states? So it is time people must take the bull by the horn.
But the presidency seems to be the vertebral bone of the system. That because a lot of power resides in the presidency.
And that's why we've been
and so
asking
on.
for the devolution of
Devolution
power.
of powers.
Let's devolve the power. Because make the central unattractive. Because every business lies within the states. And you need to empower the local government, empower the states, and leave the central. This derivative where you say so much percentage go to the federal government because you have to share to other people. Let every state be creative. And that's why I want to give kudos to Ashiwaju. Lagos is working. It has become a template for other states to emulate. If you look at the tax area, they've transformed the LRS has transformed the tax administration in Nigeria. And it has become a focal point.
Yeah.
At times, I feel when somebody
Institution
stiffen
building,
you,
yeah.
when they stiffen you, it brings out the creativity in you.
Yeah.
And I say thank you to Obasanjo for dealing with
That's what people
the
say.
governor.
Thank you to my enemies for making me
For
who
making
I
me
am.
who I am. So that actually brought out what we are experiencing and enjoying in Lagos. Creating templates for, I've seen other states come to Lagos to learn what they are doing.
Yeah.
Because somebody actually made the sacrifice. So we keep saying that empower the local government, empower the states, make the central unattractive. All these by the legislative arm of saying Senate and House, what law are you making? Make it in your state. I have the resources. Let me control my resources and let me see the best I can make out of it. Policing, you are waiting for...
In the US, even states have Supreme Courts.
Of course. So make all those things. You're talking about policing. You said the governor is the CSO of the state, but doesn't have 100% control over the police because the commissioner of police take instruction from the IG.
It forced Lagos to become creative about security when they couldn't rely on the center.
And that's
they
where you
came
see
with
the
their own
issue of
trust fund,
RRS,
and so on to fund RRS and so on. They created the federal came. You see, that is why you have to. Everything begins with the economy. If you have a vibrant economy, you come with the ideas, create a vibrant economy. Then you can create your institutions. That's what Lagos did. Lagos was able to say, okay, the first thing we do, make sure that we don't rely on the money from the center. Let us see how we can generate money for ourselves.
Which other states should begin to replicate.
Now we have generated money for ourselves. We can now secure ourselves.
Of course.
We can now pay for our own peace. We can now pay for our own prosperity.
So those are the areas that we need to look. Let's devolve the power. All the House of Rep, Senator, let's make that area to say go to your state. Because if anything happens here now, I'm sure the president won't know anything until they notify him. But I'm sure the governor will know.
Of course.
The governor will know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if the president chooses on his part to say, let me even respond to them, it's at his will. But I'm sure the governor will not sleep. And the local government chairman for those places will be running helter-skelter. And that's why we say devolve the power. Give more power to the local government, to the state, to the grassroots. With that, we'll have that growth. It should be from bottom to up,
yeah.
not what we are experiencing from up to bottom. Because when it's coming from up, there are different stages. It might not even get to the ground. And that's why we are saying that at times when it's raining and you put some barricades there, the water will fall from up. Ordinarily, it should touch the ground. But because there are certain people or certain things that are the midway, it will allow it to come. But when you are pushing water from down and you are forcing it up, it would gradually be going up, and you get to wherever height you want it to be.
Hydraulic pressure.
You understand? So that is the what I feel we need to do. But as per talking about inflation, for me, I don't think there is any light behind the tunnel as we speak. Few months back, it was like it's going to improve. We put all these mechanisms in place. Now we are having the highest of it that you want to talk about. So everyone needs to put on their thinking
And they are
cap.
just even questioning that figure, that it's not a true representation of this situation.
No, but let's just even take it. That is the worst. But I keep saying that the people that put those figures together, they understand, because some of us may not understand, even though I'm an accountant. When they put the figures together above, because something last month, what am I even going to? Last month, I think I bought oil. And I went back to the same market to get it from the same supermarket. 7,000 to 10,000. Sir, if you put that mathematics in, is it in line with what they said is happening? Or saying from 18 point something to that, you're talking of 1% increase. 7,000 to 10,000 is over 30%
30%, yes.
And same is applicable. The other day I asked them that I actually want to eat turkey and enjoy my money. And they went to the store to say a kilo is about 6,000. A kilo of turkey.
What of the full turkey itself?
You'll be talking of over
It used to be less than 1,000 before.
And those are the things that you just ask madam to please kill this turkey and spice it and let me
enjoy
just
myself.
to drink. You don't use that these days. You don't do that these days. We look up to Sundays at times when we eat chicken and turkey, Every Sunday is a day of celebration.
That was the last celebration, the last Salah, that people could not afford.
Even Ram and all those things. So let government
so
go back to the drawing board.
even religious observance is at stake.
Of course.
Because you cannot even worship your God because you have been economically strangled.
We have to leave the conversation there now. We must thank you, Chairman Ikeja District Society of ICANN, Olusegun Okwade, for your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.